Hey everyone, welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. We've got our part 2 on the Glock 43 upgrades. Today we will be looking specifically at the ETS magazines. Now then, holy cow, do these mags have an absolute love-hate relationship in the Glock world. Oh, excuse me, got a little belchy there. And to be honest, ETS also makes mags for the AR-15. Same story there, just absolute love-hate relationship with these mags. So it is always interesting when you see so many people be extremely pro, say it's an amazing product, and at the same time see so many freaking people say, I can't get through a single mag without a malfunction. So it definitely piqued my interest, especially for this particular gun, because the one mag that really caught my eye was this guy. So our standard Glock 43 mag. Here we go. 6 rounds. This guy. So just real quick, that's our flush fit factory Glock mag. Here is our flush fit ETS mag and bonus points for being clear. So, original Glock mag, 6 rounds. ETS mag, 7 rounds. So that's what piqued my interest. Absolutely no addition to the grip here, but we get 1 extra mag. Now I do know Mag Guts, they do offer a little setup, and I'm probably going to get it, where you take your original Glock mag, but you change out the follower and the spring, and changing out those two will give you 7 rounds. So kind of wondering if they did the same kind of idea with these. And like I said, very, very, very mixed reviews, specifically on this mag. One thing I see a lot of people say is that they can only get 6 rounds in there, they can't get 7. Or if they can get 7 rounds in there, that it's an extremely tough fit and the gun doesn't want to chamber that round. As far as that, I can say what they're saying, I totally see where they're coming from. Because getting that 7th round in here, I mean, you're wrestling with it. I did come across one video where the guy mentioned that he can never get 7 in there when it's a brass case round, but he always could without any issue if it was a nickel cased round. So I tried that out, and like I said, I could get 7 rounds in there with brass sometimes, not always. But the nickel, I definitely still struggle a little bit, but it does seem a little bit easier to get that 7th round in there. And I think I've always been able to get the 7 rounds in there. So one thing I want to point out, obviously the nickel does seem to help it a little bit. But the way, we're going to go ahead and load this up. We're going to put this over here, away from the live ammo. I know people are probably freaking out, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Should do it on camera so you guys know I'm not up to any kind of trickery. 5, 6, 7. So I wasn't really shaking there, but I literally, like, that's how much room is left in there. So what I was getting at, and it pretty much staggered him, I'm assuming the OE Glock mags are like this too. They're not clear, so I can't really tell. But they get kind of the staggering stack with it. And what I noticed a lot of times with the brass rounds, I would get like 2 rounds where they wouldn't stagger. They'd just be stacked directly on top of each other, like over to one side. For whatever reason, the nickel rounds seem to stagger themselves much better. One thing I would do occasionally if I couldn't get that last round in, there would always be 2 rounds stacked on top of each other rather than staggered. So I'd unload a couple, get to that point, and then reload. And a lot of times they would end up staggering themselves. And there were times too when you got 2 over to the side and you could get in that 7th round. It was definitely much more difficult to do that. So people are going to probably freak out at this too. I want to show you what it is like. So slide is closed. Okay, you can't just, I'm like pushing hard, okay? You can see my thumb turning red. Did not lock in. You literally, I don't know if you heard that, but it clicked. And now it's locked in there. That makes me a little nervous. And when you rack it, you definitely feel that extra tension of that round just pushing on that slot. Okay, the rounds are gone. The live rounds are gone. The gun is empty. So the first time I took this out, I've had this both of these ETS magazines as soon as I bought the gun. This is the one I was really hoping would work, because I like the idea of still flush fit. That's why I got the 43, not the 43X. I want that option of a super short grip, but one extra round. So I've shot quite a few rounds for this. Specifically for the magazine round, or the magazine reviews, what I did is, actually, let me pull out the ammo that I used. Each mag got one box of ammo. Now, both of these ETS mags I've had since I've had the gun. So these have actually had a few more rounds in them than just the 50. And I know 50 is not a really good count to go off before saying a mag is good or not. So for the shorty, the 8-round flush fit ETS mag, we did shoot some assortment of ammo before that. This last time I went out, it got all 50 rounds of this Blazer. Was this 115 grain? Yeah, 115 grain ammo. And in case you're like, oh, I hear ammo still in there. Actually, it's just, I'm lazy, and any brass cases that just land on the shelf, I'll go ahead and save, but it's on the floor. I'm not a goblin. I'll save it for the goblins. So, had no issues with the 50 rounds of the Blazer. Had no issues with the other ammo I shot in it before. And what I was doing with these, especially with the Blazer ammo, I was loading this up, full mag. I would chamber around, and then I'll top off the mag. I carried it, or I shot it just like I would carry. And if you like, the slide never acted funny. Like I said, when this is fully loaded, there's a lot of tension being pushed up on your slide. When you're shooting the gun, the slide never seemed to act funny. Now, if you got a fully loaded mag in here and you go to rack it, you will feel it dragging. Like, it feels funky, but it's always chambered the round. I've never had an issue with it not chambering the round. Like I said, this fired flawless for me for 50 plus rounds. I know it's not a very big pool there. So if you are looking at getting one of these ETS mags for a home defense or self-defense scenario, even though I'm saying this one has worked flawless for me so far, there are enough people out there saying these things are complete crap. You definitely want to run whatever ETS mag you get in your gun and make sure the two get along together. Like, if I were to replace this with another ETS mag, I'm not going to just trust it because this one worked. There's enough bad reviews on ETS. Something tells me probably their quality control isn't very consistent. So keep that in mind. Even though I haven't had any issues with this guy, I'm still almost a little hesitant to use it as a carry mag. Like I said, just because there are so many negative reviews, and not just on ETS, but specifically this flush fit mag for the 43. Now, do I still use it as a carry occasionally? Sometimes, yes, I do. I did start underloading it one round for a while because I could not find this guy for about a month. So I really want to say this is actually a good mag. Don't pay attention to what you saw, but just the sheer number, like I'm saying. Get one of these. It very well might work for you, like this one has worked for me. But even then, long term, I'm a little bit wary on that mag. So I don't know what kind of situation I got myself in. I've got the mag now. It's too late, right? So the other ETS mag I got was the 12 rounder, this big ol' stick. And this guy, I did get solely just for taking to the shooting range. Now, and I'm sure I've said it in past videos, you know, when talking about different mags, oh, this would make an okay range mag. I don't really believe in range mags, especially when it comes to like ARs and AKs. Decent quality mags for those aren't that expensive. Just stock up on those. Like, what's the point? The reason I do like this as a range mag is it freaking sucks and gets annoying loading 6 or 7 rounds at a time and then shooting and being done. This is actually pretty darn convenient, loaded up with 12 rounds, and shoot it. As you can see, the grip's a little funky here. I don't know why that line's right there. It doesn't match up with any line on the gun. It's actually not that uncomfortable holding. You do feel the mag kind of move when you're shooting it, but it's not terribly distracting. And I have seen there is a company out there that makes actually a little sleeve for this that makes it a little more flush with the grip. And I think you can buy the mags from them with that little extension on there. If I had known about those, I would have gone that route, but this isn't horribly uncomfortable. It's not that precarious to hold. So I'm fine with it. And I do really like just being able to shoot 12 rounds before having to reload. Now, once again, I'd used this mag quite a bit when I first got the gun. And then when we went out shooting, I say we, like I have friends. I went alone. So for this mag, on top of the few random rounds before this last outing, but this mag got a solid 50 rounds of this 9mm 124 grain NATO. Is that just like the grain? Anything in 124, is that called NATO, or is this like a specific loading? I'm asking, I have no clue. So this got the NATO rounds. Like I said, when I had first taken the gun out, I never had any issues with it, and then this last time I went out and did just the solid 50 of the 124 grain. Now, a few times I would load it, chamber around, and then top it off. I didn't do it that much because it's not like I carry this mag. Actually, to be honest with you, I think I only did that 2 or 3 times. But most of the times I was just loading it up, chambering, and rocking and rolling. Now this one, that last time I was out shooting the 124 grain NATO, I did have a malfunction with this. At one point, and honestly, I don't know what the hell happened. I was shooting, I was about midway between the mag. It wasn't even a fully loaded mag, I was about midway. I go to pull the trigger. The slide had reciprocated, it was back in battery, ready to go. I pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. So I was like, okay, it didn't strip off a round, or I had a failure to eject or something, or extract. So I popped the mag out, opened up the chamber, a round flew out of the ejection port, an unspent round, and then another round fell out of the grip. So it was like there was 2 loose rounds in there. I don't know what the F happened. Looking back when I pulled that trigger, I almost want to say I didn't even feel that little clink of the spring going. So I don't know if maybe the slide didn't go all the way back and, if, cock the freaking firing spring in here for the striker fire. I'm not a Glock guy. I don't know if that's a thing that can happen. But yeah, so either had a failure to feed. I still don't know how I ended up with 2 loose freaking rounds coming out. But anyways, that was my only malfunction. And I can say that when I did that, that was one of the times, actually that was the first time I went ahead and topped it off. I chambered around and then topped off the mag. So I did it another 2 times after that, thinking, well, did that have anything to do with it? Try to recreate it, nothing. And then I went through the rest of that box too without any hiccups. So I can, without a doubt, go ahead and say these ETS 12 round mags, they're not too bad for the range if you don't want to sit there and just keep loading up your little 6 and 7 or 7 round mags. This was pretty nice. I did not look up the prices on these and what I paid. I apologize, guys. They're pretty freaking cheap. I will say that. I feel like these are cheaper than like some of the mag extensions you can get. So I will go ahead and say this guy, this is a good range mag. I did have one malfunction with it, but it's a range mag. And normally I would be like, don't even waste your money on it if you had a malfunction. Get a good mag. But this is a 12 round, and these typically hold 6. So just for that convenient factor, like, I can live with a malfunction every so often. Is, if you're at the range. I would not put one of these in my home defense or self-defense gun. I do not think that would be wise. But just had the one malfunction with that. So, my personal experience with ETS mags, guys, nothing really to complain about. In case you're wondering what I thought of the AR-15 mags, I haven't shot them yet. I got the Set Me Ls and been spending all my time shooting those, and they do not fit in the Set Me L, so I've got to use it on my T91. I will say the AR-15 mags, I left one of them loaded for a very long time, and I did notice that when I unloaded, and this was just recently, when you squeeze up here, they're kind of like, there's like play in it. That the other ETS mag, AR mag that I purchased did not have, and still does not have. So that makes me a little concerned about the durability of this plastic. I will also say, ever since I got these, which is when I got the gun, these mags have been fully loaded and left fully loaded. Occasionally, like I said, I did download this by one round a few times. The whole having to put it in and like push it together, that makes me finicky. And like I said, like when I first got this mag, I chambered it several times just because that was so odd. And I've never really had any issues, but it's something I'm not a huge fan of. This guy for range mag, absolutely. This guy, approach with caution, even though I really didn't have any issues with it. Everybody out there can't be lying. Maybe they're all jumping on the bandwagon of the ETS hate, but buy one, try it out with your gun, make sure it works. If you get 3 of these, try all 3 out pretty heftily to make sure they do work if you're carrying it for personal protection or anything. But that's it, guys. That's my review of the ETS mags. If you're on the fence about buying one, you probably got done watching this and were like, thanks, I'm still on the fracking fence about buying one. That's just how it's going to be, guys. Alright, so I hope this was at least a little helpful to maybe some of you. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay shiny.